Hey guys, and welcome back to World War II Solitaire board game channel. So today we're gonna be playing my latest Kickstarter delivery, which is Maquis, a worker placement type of game, which I'm not very familiar with. You know, I usually play war games, but I'll play anything that is World War II and solo. So therefore, I am gonna be playing Maquis. Maquis is a really simple game, but even though it's simple, I think it's also deep and it's fun. And since this is the first time of me playing Maquis, I am gonna go ahead and briefly talk about the rules and how to set up the game. So let's start with the setup. Setup is super simple. Put the map, put 3 of these white tokens, which represent my resistant fighters on the safe house. 2 adjacent to the cafe, because I can recruit them there, or you can recruit them there. Put your resources here to the right, and then these are different rooms or buildings, whatever you want to call them, because you can put them here in the spare room spaces if you pay 2 cash. Then you're gonna go ahead and take your patrol cards. I believe there's 10 of them. I had to count. Yes, there's 10 of them. Shuffle them. I have sleeved these because there's just 10 of them, and they're black, so they're quite easy to nick, and you know, that's gonna spoil the game. And then you take your morale track and soldier track here, and the white cube goes on start, and the red cube also goes on start, and here on the map our blue cube also goes on the start. These yellow cubes should go close to your board. They are for marking progress during your missions. You will have these markers as well. The blue ones are Milice members, and the red ones are German soldiers. Okay, and then you have to choose your mission, and the missions vary in difficulty. There's a star on top of them, and we have 1-star missions, we have 2-star missions, and then we have 3-star missions. So decide which difficulty level you want to play and shuffle them. You could play, for example, only 1 star or only 2 stars, or you could mix them together. However, if you decide to play the hardest difficulty level, which is difficulty level 3, which is new in the second edition of Maquis, which we are playing, you should choose one of these, or you should shuffle them, draw one of them, and then it's recommended that you play with a normal mission. However, this time we are going to play with the starting missions. The starting missions do not have a star above them at all, and I'll just shuffle them like this, and I take the first one, put it on the left side. So you'll put these on top of the map. You'll see that there will be like a track going up to them. That is a path, I guess you would call that, instead of a track. Okay, so we are set up now, and we are ready to play. Before we start playing, I want to briefly just also discuss the differences with the second edition of Maquis and the first edition. So I don't have the first edition, but I have noticed after looking at videos that the second edition have this nicer map with spaces to hold the cube, and this is the turn sequence track. And then the same goes for the morale card and the soldier track here, also on that card. And then we have, like I said before, the 3-star missions, and we also have a few new resources and a couple of these new rooms. So that's basically the difference of first and second edition. And of course, second edition is going to be, if you can choose between the two, the second edition is going to be better. But I think there's nothing wrong with the first edition. You will have fun with that as well. So don't worry about it if you have the first edition. Okay, so let's talk about the rules here quickly, so you kind of know what I'm doing here. So the game revolves around these missions, and I just realized that you can't see the missions. So I'm gonna have to zoom out my camera a bit. Okay, so before we start talking about the missions, let's talk about our 3 resistance fighters, and we can have up to 5. And these will move around the maps, and different locations have different actions. For example, if I would go to the grocer, that would give me a food. I could go here to the radio and call a radio in, and that could spawn on either of the fields. I could get food. I could get free food, 1 money, or 1 weapon. And then someone would have to pick up that weapon or whatever I spawned at the field. Some of them don't have any things like, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but the church, Ponte Nord, and Rue Baradat, I'm sure it's not pronounced. These have no actions, but usually there's some kind of mission to complete there. And you can be blocked on your way to the mission, but you have to, on your way back, you have to have a clear path, meaning that you can't have any of these milice or military members blocking you. So for example, if I was visiting here the doctor, that wouldn't effectively block me because I need to get back to the safe house. I could move up here and back that way. That would be cool, no problem. However, if there was another milice member over at, for example, the grocer, that would be a big problem, because that would mean that there would be no way back for my militia member, and he would be arrested and removed from the game. So that's pretty much how it works. You have to collect your resources, and then again, these spare rooms, you can buy some really good areas. For example, you could buy the Propagandist, which is one of my favorites. It will give you 1 morale, and we're going to go into detail how this morale and soldier track works later on. And so you know how that works, and then we have the missions, and like I said, the game revolves around these missions. So the first ones are pretty simple. We have the officer's mansion. I'll read a card here quickly to you. The local commander has commandeered a fancy house north of town. We need to make sure he knows that he will never have us cowed. Place a worker on Rue Bardat, Point Leveque, and Point Nord to write anti-fascist graffiti. Place markers during the action phase to track graffiti. Once all 3 locations are tagged, place a worker here to complete. So basically what I have to do with that is just put, for example, in one turn I could put 1 worker on, or 1 resistant fighter on Point Leveque. Sorry, that's a bad pronouncement. And then on the second turn I could put 1 on Rue Bardat and 1 on Pont du Nord. And I'll put the markers here because they show that I've done the graffiti. And then on the third turn I could put 1 of the resistant fighter on the card, and that would complete the mission. So that's what I have to do with my first mission. And then we have Milice Parade Day. So the Milice are holding parades around town. A brave volunteer must show our defiance. They probably won't make it back. So I have to deliver 1 weapon to Rue Baradat on a parade day. And the parade days are these yellow days. And once we reach them with the turn tracker, we have to decrease our morale by 1. And you can see the morale here goes from 7 to 1. And then there's a red number next to it, and the red number is the number of patrols. So that's very bad. So we want to keep our morale up and have low number of patrols. Anyway, we have to deliver a weapon here to Rue Bardat on a parade day. That's day 3, 6, 9, 12, or 14. And then that worker is arrested, but I increase my morale by 1. And before I complete this mission, the road between Rue Bardat and Fence is blocked on parade days. And again, parade days are these orange days. So day number 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. And I can quickly tell you about the soldier track. For example, if I would get trapped here, and I can't get back to the safe house, and if I have a weapon in my supply, oh my, you can't see my supply either. I'm gonna have to go further up with the camera. Anyway, if I have a weapon in my supply, I can choose to shoot one of these milice members, and that would mean that I would be able to make it back, but it would decrease morale by 1, and it would increase soldiers by 1. And that would mean that the next time spawning these patrols, the last patrol would be a military patrol, a soldier patrol. And soldier patrols can't be shot. So once you have too many of these soldier patrols, you can't get out of sticky situations. And I think that is about it, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and raise the camera a little bit further up. So I think these 2 starting missions are really good because they're quite simple, quite easy, but they give you a real good sense of how to play the game, and they don't overwhelm you. Okay, so enough of me babbling. We're gonna start playing. I'm gonna put my first resistant worker here at the grocer, which will give me a food token during the end of the phase. Now we put a Milice member, but before we do that, we have to see where to put him. So he will go to Pont Levecu. I'm gonna stop trying to pronounce that name because I will say bad things. Okay, and the next one we put at the black market. And I just want to point out here that my plan from this move is the last one I'm going to put in Radio B. And I'm going to spawn a pistol here, which I will need for this mission, the Milice Parade Day. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if I would put one on Radio B directly, I could do that. But then if I have an enemy patrol at the black market or the grocer, he's going to be stuck and I will lose one resistance fighter. And I don't want that to happen. Okay, so next Milice member, he's going to go to Pont du Nord. And then my last placement goes to Radio B. And the last placement, Pont Levecu, we already have one. Pont du Nord, we already have one. And Doctor. So last one goes to the Doctor. If you ever get a card where you have, for example, say that in Pont Levecu we would have now a resistant member instead. You would still not place a Milice member, you would go to the next. But if all of them are occupied by either resistant fighters, resistant members, or Milice or soldiers, you're going to go to arrests, and then you will check number 1 again. Number 1, is that a resistance member? Yes, it is. He's arrested, removed from the game. So anyway, that is how it works with that. And I think the first turn has been a success. The Radio B we're going to use to spawn a weapon on the field right here. And then he'll run back to the safe house. And the black market, we do nothing. In the grocer, we do take one piece of food. And we take back our Milice members and we advance the turn track by 1. So what do I need to do? I need to put graffiti here, here, and here. Okay, so I'll simply start there. Radio A will be the first patrol. And okay, so I'll visit the Doctor. Fence will be the next patrol. And then for my last one, I go to Rue Baradat. And the patrols goes to the grocer. Okay, so from Rue Baradat, I put my graffiti, my anti-fascist graffiti, and I will mark that with a yellow cube. In the Doctor, I get some medicine or whatever that is, some bandages and whatnot, first aid kit perhaps, and then in I'm not going to pronounce that. The church. I'm going to call that the church from now on. At the church, that is a hard word to pronounce for me as a Swedish person. But at the church, I also do some graffiti. So the last place now to do graffiti is Pont du Nord. And okay, that is the end of it. And we remove the patrols and we advance the turn counter. If this ever reaches to 15, we have lost. Or if I run out of members, we've also lost, obviously. Or yeah, that's the way. That's the ways you lose. Okay, so and this should be at start. Okay, so I have Pont du Nord left. It's a little bit risky going there directly. I think. Okay, I gotta go to the field with one of them to pick up the pistol. Radio B will be the first patrol. And then the next guy, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in the grocer. I wanna make sure I have a... Whoops, used the wrong one. You have a safe way home. Radio B again, which is occupied. So Rue Baradat. I wish these were easier to pronounce. And the last one I'm going to go ahead and put here on Pont du Nord. And the last patrol is going on the fence. So we have been really lucky with the patrols, but I'm also playing quite defensively. Okay, so that's the last patrol. Pont Nord, I put a graffiti marker and return to the safe house. The grocer, I get a piece of food. And at the field, I pick up a pistol. Okay, and we take back our Milice members. And we go ahead and go to day 3 now, which again, orange, that's a parade day. That means we lose a morale. And the morale is still at 3 patrols. But next one is going to be 4 patrols, so we don't want that. Take note that there will be the amount of patrols are going to be either as many resistance members you have. So if I, for example, have 4 resistance members and this morale track says 3 patrols, well, it's still going to be 4 now, because it's going to be whatever is the highest, the number of resistance members or the red number here on the morale track. So in that case, if it's 3 on the track but 4 members, it's going to be 4 patrols. But if it's 3 members and if it's 4 on the track, it's going to be 4 patrols. But in this case, we have the number 3 on the morale track, and we have 3 resistance members, so it's just going to be 3 patrols. Okay, so one of them we are placing here in Rue Baradat, and he's going to be delivering this pistol now, and he's going to be arrested. One other thing that's good to know, that you can see in some of these areas you have a shield with a white star, and that means that you will get this reward even if you're arrested. Because other types of reward, for example, if I would be trying to get this med kit from the doctor, if I were to be arrested on my way back to the safe house, I would lose that health kit. But if I go to the poor district and deliver 1 food and 1 health kit to gain 1 morale, I would gain that morale even if I were to be arrested on my way back. Okay, so next patrol. And next patrol goes to Radio A. And we're going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. And like I said, there's just 10 of these cards, and you're going to be shuffling them quite often. So I do really recommend you to sleeve them. I noticed that I did on one of these cards, because I didn't shuffle them immediately. And on one of these cards, I made like a tiny, tiny, tiny white mark. And I've seen the back of it, but I've never really... I only see it if I look for it. And I don't even remember what it says, but that was enough to convince me that, okay, hey, we gotta sleeve these cards. Okay, so next worker, I am going ahead and... sorry, this should be the pistol. I take my next, not worker, but resistance member, and I move up here to the officer's mansion to complete that mission. And next patrol is Radio B. So again, I've been really lucky with the patrols. I go to the cafe. I'm gonna recruit 1 member, since I will be losing 1 from the one that's gonna be about to be arrested. And then next area, Radio B is occupied. Rue Baradat is occupied. Pont Leve, the church, is not. So we put 1 Milice member there, and that is the end of the turn. So from this area, I pay 1 food, and I get 1 more resistance member to my team. In this area, I use my pistol to complete this card, the Milice Parade, and then this resistance member is unfortunately arrested and removed from the game. But this card has now been completed. And then on this area, the officer's mansion, I have done the graffiti on these areas. I should also remove these. I have done the graffiti on these areas, and then I've also placed my worker there to complete the mission, and that means that I have successfully now here on turn number 3 completed both of the missions. Like I said, don't get discouraged if you think this seems too easy, because this is actually not. I have been incredibly lucky with the patrols for this game, and these 2 missions are just starting missions to give you a feel of the game, which I think is perfect. Next video we are gonna do these mission cards. which are going to be the 1-star missions. So they're going to be quite a bit tougher. So stay tuned for the next channel. Next video, if you think it's fun, look at me playing Maquis. Also, of course, for the next video, you're not going to have to listen to me rambling on about the rules and stuff like that for 10 minutes before I start playing. I just did that in this video since it's my first time playing, and I thought maybe you guys would like to hear how it works. I also want to give a shout out to Alexander. Alexander, which last name I believe is perhaps Dutch or Belgian, something like that. I'm not going to try to pronounce that either, but who has become the first member of the channel. Thank you very much, Alexander. And for only $2.99, you can $2.99 US a month, you can become a member of the channel, and that's going to help support the channel. You know, I've created this channel with the purpose of the channel is to spread the word of our hobby. To give people who are already part of this hobby the latest news on World War II solitaire board games. Small hobby, but with a lot of stuff going on, and I think we're growing quite fast, and I really like to be a part of that. So if you want to help me to keep, you know, the news going of World War II board games, please become a member of the channel. Well, as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Let me know what you would prefer to see. Perhaps you want to see me play a specific game. Next up is going to be Warfighter World War II, requested by Alexander. And then I'm also going to try to start learning. I haven't started learning 303 Squadron yet, so that's going to go on the table after Warfighter. Well, that's enough of me babbling, guys. Take care. See you next time.